Oh yeah. Can you hear that? That thin shell of caramelized sugar. Hey everyone, it's Kenji. I'm gonna make some French toast. So I already have a French toast recipe that I put up a little while ago on my site. The video is on YouTube and the recipe's on Kenji on my Patreon, Kenji Lopez-Alt. But this recipe is a little bit different. So I just recorded a podcast episode for my podcast, The Recipe with Kenji and Deb, with my partner Deb Perelman. We had a guest on that episode. It was Chris Kimball from Cooks Illustrated. And in the course of that conversation, actually in the course of leading up to that conversation, I cooked one of Deb's recipes for French toast. That recipe, she calls it caramelized French toast, and it's essentially you take a baguette, you slice it, you let it stale, then you dip it in an egg and milk custard, nothing but eggs and milk. And then after that, you toss those dipped slices into a sugar and cinnamon mixture, and then you put them in a buttered baking dish and you bake it all together, flipping it halfway through. And essentially what happens is that the sugar caramelizes, the outside of the French toast becomes kind of crunchy, while the inside stays nice and custardy. I had some slices of bread left over from that, because I cut a bit more than I needed, and so I thought, okay, it was great toasted in the oven in butter. What about if I just fry it in a pan in butter the way I normally make my French toast? And I thought it actually ended up tasting even better that way. So it's very different from your sort of more, less sweet, more savory, real breakfasty French toast that you might be used to making. This is almost more like a dessert, like caramelized brioche. It's almost like crème brûlée in texture and flavor because it's got that kind of crunchy sugar crust. That said, I think it's delicious. And if you're the kind of person who likes to put maple syrup on their French toast, I don't think the sugar content really ends up that different because this one doesn't need any maple syrup or anything at all other than just what it is. All right, so I've got 2 eggs here and about half a cup of milk. I've done this with half and half, and I've done it with heavy cream. It works with anything. Obviously, the more fat is in your dairy product, the fattier it's going to be, the richer it's going to be. Today, I'm doing this with challah. This has been sliced and sitting out for a little while, so it's a little bit dried out. I made some yesterday with sourdough, and that worked really nicely too. But we're going to let this soak in the custard for a moment. And meanwhile, I'm going to take some sugar into a shallow dish like this. And then some of this. You can use just straight up ground cinnamon. I'm using this poudre douce from World Spice here down in Pike Place. Poudre douce is French for douche powder. Now it means sweet powder. And it's a mixture of sort of sweet, warm baking spices. So it's cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and actually, does it have nutmeg? No, it's cinnamon. I look at this every time and always forget. They put cinnamon, brown sugar, ginger, and allspice. A little bit of salt and sugar as well. Oh, yesterday I made it no vanilla, but today I think I might add a tiny dash of vanilla. Which, as my partner Deb says, vanilla is one of those things that you measure with your heart. I guess I say that now too. All right, let's re-soak, get a little bit of that vanilla flavor. All right, so now I've got my preheated griddle. Obviously it'll work in a pan also. I'm just gonna butter it up. And then I'm gonna take my bread and soak it. And the idea here is that we want to get a nice coating of that cinnamon sugar mixture. And let it start to fry. When I make my French toast, my existing recipe for French toast, I recommend sprinkling a little bit of sugar over the top. You lay it down, you soak it in your custard, make sure you lay it down, and then you sprinkle a little bit of sugar over the top so that when you flip it over and get that second side going, it has a little bit of this effect. It gets that sort of crunching up from the added sugar. That's a tip I learned from my colleague Daniel Gritzer over at Serious Eats. So this is sort of like that, but just kind of taken to the extreme where we really completely separate out that sugar coating from the rest of the custard. And what you'll find is that it really does get crunchy almost. You know, it'll come off at first feeling a little bit soft, but then as it cools on the plate, it becomes a real sort of candy shell. All right, I'm gonna let these sit and fry. It'll take a few minutes per side. So in the meantime, I'll let you go. No, I'll let me go do whatever I want. You don't get to do anything because I'm gonna do my magic snap and you'll be right back, all right? So I'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, these guys should be ready to go. Whew, look at that. So these are the bits that are going to crisp up as they cool. You should end up with something that's crunchy on the outside and soft and buttery on the inside. All right, I think this will take about as long to finish frying as it will take my tea to steep. So I will see you again in another couple minutes. All right, so that second side is done. Let's get these out onto our plate here. All right, second side looks done, yep. So now, yeah, you might be tempted to just eat these straight away, but I think you really do want to wait for them to cool just a little bit. Partly because these are going to be a lot hotter on your tongue than normal French toast. That caramelized sugar shell, well, it has the properties of caramelized sugar, which if you've ever touched a hot glue gun or dipped your hand into, if you've gone to the Chihuly Museum and stuck your hand into that glass, into the pool of molten glass in the glass furnace, it hurts because the stuff sticks to you. So you don't, you can burn off the roof of your mouth pretty easily with this kind of sugar. So I would give it a few moments to wait. And the eating experience also just becomes better because it becomes, well, crunchy. Let's see how crunchy we are right now. Let's see if we can do that fork thing. Oh yeah. Can you hear that? That thin shell of caramelized sugar. Also, you might notice, I like to cook mine pretty dark, so on the verge of going black almost. And in fact, I don't even mind a few little black spots here and there. I think just like in a crème brûlée, having a little bit of burnt sugar there and having that hint of bitterness, or in burnt caramel ice cream, for example. I think having that hint of bitterness actually really complements the flavor nicely. But should we give it a shot now? These also can be made ahead, I've discovered. You can make them and then just heat them up in the toaster oven the second day, or the third day in there. Very good. All right. Yeah. It's a nice mix of textures and flavors. What I've also found is that if you let them cool to room temperature, they make real good kids' treats. Like I cut them up into cubes and I gave them to my kids as treats yesterday, and they love them. They get really nice and crunchy, and you can pick them up with your fingers. And then, my production manager, Lena, who is sitting over here. Hello. Lena suggested that if you cut them up into cubes at room temperature, they would make a real nice garnish for a fruit salad. So like some kind of like fruit panzanella salad. And so we're going to take the leftovers of these and give that a shot. And if it's good, I'll report back. And if it's not, you will never hear from me again. All right. Caramelized French toast. The key is to leave the sugar out of the custard, soak the bread in the custard, soak stale bread in the custard, coat it in a cinnamon and sugar mixture or a sugar and poudre douce mixture, and then fry it in butter. And it caramelizes and becomes crispy and delicious. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, see you later.